Good morning, it's Christopher Taylor with Sovereign Harmony Astrology up on the hill. It's Sunday morning, March 1st. So we're going to do the astrology for the first week of March here in 2026. So coming off of last week's solar eclipse in Aquarius, a couple weeks ago, I should say, we had Mars stimulating essentially that eclipse point here over the weekend. And it also squared Uranus, just like that eclipse did as well. And we saw some repercussions of that Mars in Aquarius squaring the ruler of Aquarius, the surprise actions and things, with the attacks on Iran. The other side of that, which is interesting, because I even saw CNN report on it, and this is something you wouldn't have seen when Neptune was in Pisces up until recently, but now they're starting to realize that in order to stay relevant, they've got to report all of the news. So the other side of that Mars in Aquarius squaring Uranus is the liberation aspect. So the Iranian people, I saw CNN reporting on Iranian people in the US celebrating what was happening over there. So two sides of the story being told. Something, again, we wouldn't have seen if it wasn't for the advancement of independent media, which is really what we've crossed over into with Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, which I've been talking about for months. Okay, so just a side note there. Anyway, so that same Mars is now going to cross into Pisces tomorrow on the 2nd. And so that makes all personal planets in Pisces for about 4 days, because on Friday, Venus will enter Aries, it's the lead planet in Pisces. But right now we have Venus up ahead in late Pisces. Behind that is Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Behind that is the Sun in Pisces. And then we have Mars, which is going to enter Pisces on Monday. And so with all 4 of those planets in Pisces, this is that personal endings. Okay, so we already had the major endings on a societal level with Saturn and Neptune finishing up in Pisces over the last many years. And now society, or the evolution of society, is ready for us as individuals. And so now we have all the personal planets in Pisces for a week. And with that, though, we're going to have the lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse in Virgo, which is going to oppose all of that energy in Pisces. So I've been looking at this Mercury retrograde, which we're in right now. And Mercury retrograde actually rules this lunar eclipse because it's a ruler of Virgo. And it is like this Roomba that is going through and picking up all the dust. Okay, all the mess that is still left behind, so that we can move ourselves forward into the future with the societal movements. Okay, and now with all the personal planets there, it's basically like saying, hey, let's do what Virgo does, which is let's purify, let's separate the wheat from the chaff. So whatever is left on a personal level that is not useful, it's just time to get rid of it. So this lunar eclipse really has to do with endings, finality. It's in a sextile to Jupiter in Cancer, which is retrograde, about to turn direct, which means Jupiter has gone as far back as it can in the past, what Cancer represents there. And so what is it from the past that we really need to get rid of, so we're ready to be the new person, that new evolved person that holds more of ourselves in this space, in this life. And so we're separating what isn't necessary from what can be useful. It's like when you rummage through your garage, your closet, your attic, you could find some pretty good gems in there, right? And you can reuse those and repurpose those. And so that's what part of this total lunar eclipse is about, is what can we repurpose and what just needs to go, okay? So think of it like that. It's really a finality of finalities. And as we're getting onto this other side of this eclipse, now, like I've been mentioning for months, the last set of eclipses back in September, we were exiting the caterpillar phase, entering that goo phase in between caterpillar and butterfly. So we've been in that goo phase for months. And now as we get on the other side of these eclipses, we've had the solar eclipse a couple weeks ago, this lunar eclipse coming up this week, now we're entering the butterfly phase. And so we can think of the butterfly phase as represented by as these personal planets enter Aries. Okay, so they're all in Pisces starting tomorrow. But Venus being the lead planet, that's going to be the first one to enter Aries. That'll be on Friday. But before it does, midweek around Wednesday, it will form a sextile to Uranus, which is still in Taurus. So remember, Uranus will be entering Gemini in late April, but it's still finishing up in Taurus, where it's been since 2018. So Venus will be the first planet of the personal planets to make that sextile to Uranus before it enters Aries, where it will, this weekend, conjoin Neptune in Aries, and then conjoin Saturn in Aries, because Saturn's out ahead of Neptune right now. So what this sextile to Uranus represents, and all the personal planets will have this element to it, is it's kind of like looking at our old routines, our old comforts, and using our intuition to try something different. Try something, open ourselves up to something different, because we need to be in that open space to enter Aries, to have those planets enter Aries, which is that fresh butterfly energy, okay? So Venus will be the first to do it this week, that sextile to Uranus in Taurus. So it's on a heart level, it's like, okay, what can we loosen up? Venus is exalted in Pisces, about our routines, about our comfort level. What can we open up there so that Venus can enter Aries, join Neptune, join Saturn, and be ready for something brand new. Okay, that conjunction to Neptune really has to do with our hearts aligning with our souls, because Neptune represents our like kind of whole soul self wanting to enter into Aries, the body, right? And so Venus is like the gateway of the heart first. So we're starting with the heart, then the other personal planets will follow. We'll have the Sun, we'll have Mercury, we'll have Mars, all making that same journey with that sextile to Uranus entering Aries. But it'll be over the next several weeks. It won't end actually until, I believe, when Mercury enters Aries and forms the conjunction to Neptune and Saturn in mid-April, which is only about a week and a half before Uranus enters Gemini. So there really is about, there's something about this finishing up with Uranus and Taurus in the personal planets, really, again, that opening phase to allow us to be ready for what is brand new in the butterfly energy of Aries. So on a personal level, we'll be aligned with where we are at society with that Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries, okay? And then when Venus joins Saturn, I believe it's on Saturday, Sunday time frame next week, that is when we're taking responsibility, again, for where our heart space is and what we're willing to do differently, to be brand new, to not live by the past, not be dragged by our past stories and whatnot. So again, that sextile to Uranus is that opportunity to open ourselves and to allow those stories to fall away so that we can have a brand new story going forward. So I'll leave it at that. Keep it nice and short this week. So just think of it as, this total lunar eclipse is that separating the wheat from the chaff, taking what's good in our closet, what's good in our garage or attic, taking that with us, leaving the rest behind. And opening ourselves up, starting with Venus here, but over the next several weeks, it'll be the other personal planets, so that we're ready to match where society has evolved to with that Saturn, Neptune, and Aries conjunction, okay? And so we're onto something brand new. And the old world is dying before our eyes, like we've seen it. And we're gonna have to, on a personal level, figure out what we wanna do from here on a societal level and what our role is in that. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to look at your personal chart where all this is happening for you, I do personal readings. And if you're not following me on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or if you are on one of those, I'm on all four of those. So you can find me there, Christopher Taylor - Sovereign Harmony Astrology on YouTube, Sovereign Harmony Astrology across the board on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Again, please comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.